All right. Cool. Well, let's get this thing kicked off here. Our year of expansion, 2024. Many of you, perhaps most of you, have been with us for a long time, and so this will be not new news to you. Some of you are newer to the group, and so this will be hopefully a fun and exciting time as we go into what we believe will be kind of an overdrive situation where we're finally hitting our run stage as a group. Welcome to our Survival Club workshop for 2024. This is our kickoff. And anybody here notice that the world's getting a little crazier these days?
Yes.
Kind of continues a long-term trend. And so therefore, you've heard about survival clubs, and that's our basic response to the whole approach to crazy world. The answer to which fate are we in now is pretty obvious. You got the pandemic, the war on faith, you got the militarization of the police, you got the free suppression of free speech, you have natural disasters on top of all the rest of it. And of course, some medical totalitarianism, and even some questionable government scenes. So the key point is that there must be a way to manage this. And our belief is that we can survive together. But there are likely to be bumps along the road, and you'll all need some help. And so will your friends and family. Marcy and I started out basically as a management consultant and have been working at that trade for many, many years. And Marcy and I have become kind of experts on the whole survival club idea. This is from us back in 2014, where we had this was our group back in those days, where we got educated on the whole CERT training, which is a very interesting and useful training on how to basically help in a disaster situation. And we are dedicated to expanding these survival clubs and helping people survive any disaster. So in a summary, we started 10 years ago. We're now on our third property. And we'll welcome you to our world headquarters. Marcy will show a little bit on this a little bit later today. So the way we did it is we got some friends together in 2013. We started learning and training each other. We told more friends, they told friends, and it took off, and we gained recognitions. We kept learning and training and found properties for evacuation, and then we used the properties for recreation, increasing people's knowledge of ability through hands-on kind of work. And there we go. And so we can go into benefits of survival club, happy group, confidence, team spirit, strong drive for a group activity and all that, and lots of fun. So that is kind of a quick introduction to what we are all about and to what we're heading into. I would like to say that toward the end of the meeting, I'll be going over my view of our goals for 2024 and our activities, but certainly a very big part of that is expanding beyond our immediate area and around the world. So I wanted to do that quick introduction. And Marcy, are you on now?
I'm here. There's just no video.
Good. So do you want to introduce our MC for the next section?
Yes, of course. Well, we started, almost a year ago now, planning to coordinate survival clubs that already existed and start new ones so that we can be like a team of survival clubs, and we can work together, we can share ideas, and we can also be able to be in communication with each other no matter what happens, and put together an idea where we can, as a group, be like our own organization around the world. And Jamie and Benji have put their hand up and said that they wanted to help out, and they have basically taken over what we call the, basically the expansion project, which is 6B, is expanding survival clubs around the world. And so Jamie and Benji are the co-secretaries for expansion of new survival clubs. Their last name is Berger. They live in Texas, and they met when they were kids, of all places, at an outdoor nature survival focused summer camp. And they maintain their interest in nature and survival through all these years. And they have actually toured around the country. And if I've got this correct, they've visited 22 other homesteading and survival type, bug out type places around the country. And they left their corporate jobs during COVID. And so they're now homeschooling their two kids, and a third on the way is coming soon. And they operate two businesses together. Anyway, they said, we want to lead the expansion program. And she's just taken it and run with it. Many of you are on this call because she met you and contacted you in some way. And so I wanted to kick off what we're doing and introduce the next speaker. So over to Jamie.
Awesome. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, David. And thank you, everybody, yes, who's here today because of conversations that we've had. So like Marcy said, my husband and I have been traveling for the past 2-3 years. We've been traveling by minivan around the country with our two kids, visiting all sorts of communes, organic farms, various survival club type groups, all sorts of things, and just really have been amazed at what's going on in the country and the changes that have been going on. And we connected with Marcy and David and learned about their survival club in Florida, and just got really excited about joining this community and helping to expand and bring groups together. And so throughout the process, Benji and I have been helping to discover where there were already survival clubs that not everyone was familiar with, and expanding to new locations. So today we're going to hear from 3 of the existing survival clubs, and then we're also going to hear from one of our coming soon locations, which is really exciting. And I think just like to give my overview of kind of coming out of spending months and months reaching out and talking to so many different people. Both of us have been chatting with tons of different people from all walks of life, from all parts of the world. And I think what's been really interesting is that every single location is creating something unique and different. And you'll see that today as we have these different clubs present. Because at the end of the day, what a survival club is different for each community, for each group of people, and each one has become its own unique thing. And I think that even just the idea of survival in itself has a spectrum of what that means to people. And as David mentioned, there's the present time issues that we're all experiencing and living through, and then there's also the ideas of what could happen in the future and being prepared for those things. This particular quote was one that Benji and I really resonated with when we first started learning about the survival club idea, that the real and actual reason we want to organize the clubs isn't just for the major disaster, for example, an atomic bombing, but it's also to raise individual capabilities. And I think what's really cool is that each club is doing that in a unique way that makes sense for its membership. So with that, I will bring us to the first group that's going to present today, which is Nikloom. So Jackie and Stuart started Nikloom in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico as a nonprofit off-grid eco-village. And they're serving families who want to create a better life their group includes members who are based in Mexico, but also families who are all around the world. These are people who, some of them want to live full-time at Niklum once they've built out their spaces, and others are looking at it as a plan B should, you know, the life that they currently have become non-ideal. So really interesting and excited to hear from you guys. So I will stop sharing my screen and pass it off to you.
Well, basically, we are a family that were living in California and near San Francisco, like around 4 years ago. When we know that we will have settling, we start to search doctors and everything. We have family doctors in Mexico. And we saw that medical freedom was a little restriction in California. So I start to work with other friends to going to the Capitol building in Sacramento to help to find a way that the medical freedom can continue in California, but doors start to be closed. And we start to look other states like Oregon, even Canada, other parts of the world. And we saw that it was so at the end, we decided we found Mérida, Yucatan, that was named the second safest city in the American continent. It's real, in Mexico, and here is pretty safe. Do you want to mention something else?
No, absolutely. It's very safe. And in regards to the safety, I've never seen a city, not even in the United States, where women could walk home in a central part of a city at midnight or 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. Walking alone, not a problem. Very, very safe. One of the things we had to come and see that for ourselves. And when we saw that, and actually exploring Merida and the surrounding areas, we found that to be true. Here you can see on the video, this is where we are now. We have roads cleared out and all lots are able to be viewed. When we first purchased the land in the Yucatan, it was like Jackie was saying, it was to raise our son and be free from the medical restrictions, especially in California, and just social situations that were happening and starting in 2019. And then in 2020, that's when we changed our mind and decided to expand it and make it what's now we call it a regenerative eco ranch or regenerative neighborhood. And our goals is just to make it a complete success. We have available 160 potential lots, 130 that are right now, but we can make 160 out of the current space. We started off with 54 acres and we're now at 254 acres with more adjacent acres. All of the lots and lands that we've purchased with the lot sales are adjacent and connected.
Private property.
Yeah, it's all private property.
We have near more than 40 cenotes around, so the water is very fresh around. It's a very touristic area. We have the beach very near. At the same time that we are a little far from the beach driving, we tested our water more than 3 times. It have a total clear water, no contamination, no anything. You can drink it. It's very clear because it comes from wells. The wells here are only $400 dig it, and then you have water. So we have a windmill that we just bought. We have artisanal wells that is with the hands, very big, and then each land or each membership, we don't sell lands, even we have some titles for lands if you want a title, but we are more pointing with memberships. We want to be off the grid. We want to be off the system. In this way, for that, we are a non-profit association. We have already some families from all over the parts of the world: Canada, Australia, England, Italy, you name it, many other places. We still need more people, like-minded people that knows or be aware about what is happening in the planet. And you can build as you want. You have that freedom. The size, we keep the jungle, we keep in each lot, we keep the 50% of the vegetation. Is very important for us. We are in the jungle, but at the same time near a little town, and then in some way near the city. So we have already 20 families on board, 7 houses are being built, and 2 families, almost 3 families living there. On the place. We know we need a lot of things to do still. It's very big, it's like a town, but that is our ideal scene, is have a academy for our kids, making homeschooling, a little market for sell organic stuff, all our livestock. It's like a ranch, you know, it's a private property, and we are being very, very happy receiving all people, families, very ethical families from all parts of the world, and making it with very good friends. And well, we will love that if you know someone of you want. We know that is growing the survival club ideas. We need much more. The idea is protect us as the souls, protect us as the body, for in that way we can continue our ways to studying or do what we need to do, you know, being more capable and more with more capacity to study the things that we want to study.
Exactly. So yeah, also the Yucatan is located on a very unique aquifer. There's an endless supply of clean water. Like Jackie said, we've had it tested 3 times. No contaminants, no other matters that would cause any health issues. We have people that are going back and forth, and we have full-time settlers that are on the property full-time. We're located in a very safe area. We have clean air, clean water. We can raise organic food. Our plan is to have an educational facility called an academy, where parents can raise their children and educate them by whatever curriculums. We're currently, our son is attending a local school while we get things started. It's a private school, but our plan is also we have connections and have been using applied scholastics as his educational curriculum. So we plan on establishing shops, healthcare amenities, cattle. So we'll have bovines, cows, chickens. You can see we already have chickens and ducks and geese on the lots now. We don't have the cattle yet. And
why Mexico? Well, we found that Mexico, the last information from the attorney that we are using for immigration, he said that 25 million people is arriving to Mexico to live. So it's a lot of people that knows that Mexico has a lot of freedom, still have a lot of freedom, medical freedom, and it's not very easy tracking the people. We are fortunately in this way, in this moment, third world country, but at the same time, Mexico is growing, is being self-sustaining. We will be the 4th potential in the world for gas, and even we have gasoline, oil too. So we have many places that we can grow food, because we have a very good weather. We don't have snow, that helps. Even it's very beautiful, the snow, but in some moments for emergency, we need to grow food. That is one of the things that are very important. We found that Merida was named the 2nd safest city in the American continent. That means Canada, America, and Mexico, North America. And from Mexico is the safest city. Here is not narco cartel activity, no kidnapping, even is not drug dealers around the area. And we want to keep that in Neklum. For that, the people that comes with us is very high ethicals, no drugs and other ideologies. We accept any, all religions are very, very welcome. And we have religions for, you know, we even don't ask the religion of the people that is coming. But we are very, very happy with the families that are already with their kids. We have some Mayan huts, we have a jacuzzi, we have some animals. We know we needed a lot of more work, but we are very happy with the product that we have in 2.5 years. And well, for you guys that are in other countries, most of you guys are friends, we know you guys. So if some plan B, Neklum is a plan B, you don't need to move right away. It's a place that if something happened in your country or in your place, you know that you can move there and you have open arms to receive with friends and in the same channel that we will be.
Exactly. So we also have the capability of raising organic beef, organic sheep, organic chicken, organic fruits, organic vegetables all year round. Water supply is always available either by rain or by well water. We have, we're also going to be educating on how to build houses, and raising farm animals and doing everything organically in that way. So we have tons of food security and water security. So those are the main things that people are very interested in. And with that, I think the video's probably got another, well, that went fast. So it's got another 3 minutes, and we can have you watch the rest of the video.
Yeah, maybe while the video continues, if anybody has any questions for you guys, this would be a good time.
Sure.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What does the name mean?
Neklum is the Mayan word. It's 2 Mayan words. Nik means seeds, and loom means of the earth. So Neklum is the seeds of the earth, and the original purpose for Neklum was for our children. So that's basically why we called it Neklum, because those seeds for the earth are our children.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. How big of an area do you have?
So the
And
living area is 54 acres, and then we have 200 additional acres of land in order to do any type of agriculture, permaculture. You see the people picking the fruit. Those are chico sapotes, a very nutritious fruit. And though that orchard has existed there since the 1940s, it's been unattended to, so that you can see that nobody's taking care of the trees, but they're still growing despite that. So the water supply they're getting water from the underground water.
There's a question in the chat. To participate, do you need to speak Spanish?
Absolutely not. Most of the people in Neklum don't speak Spanish. You'll find plenty of people in the city of Merida who speak English, including locals. But it's very helpful if you do speak Spanish. I am bilingual. Awesome.
There was another question about like the legal system in Mexico. So in the United States, the legal system is that you're innocent until proven guilty. How does that work in Mexico?
I'm not totally familiar with the government system, but I do know it's Napoleonic, and that there is some type of where you're guilty until proven innocent. I don't know exactly how that works, but when you are in the United States, or when you're from the United States and you're in Mexico, you should take a look at the immigration laws regarding that, because you have the rights of an American citizen while you're in Mexico.
And if you say became a member of Neklum, you don't own property, so you're just a member of your community. How long can you stay in Mexico before you need to have some sort of a visa or something?
So the visas usually last for 6 months, and then you can get an extension for 160 days. In Mexico, there's really no such thing as you've overstayed your visa. It's called an extraordinary. So it's not like you're going to get picked up by the Mexican ICE and taken in and detained and deported. But you'll have to pay a fine, and you'll be asked, to handle your situation or go out for a while and then come back in. So that's really, it's an open city or open country and a very friendly country in terms of immigration and people coming in.
Awesome.
Oh, and the other thing too, so to answer the question, we have 2 ways. We have memberships, so you can have a membership and be completely off grid. And we also have properties with titles that are available. So you can have a full title. Just so you know, the caveat regarding that is that you're going to have to get your Mexican residency. That is also not difficult to do. Like I said, Mexico is a very open country, very friendly to other nations, and I've got my permanent residency in about a month. That's because my son was born in Mexico. And with other people, it can be a process that can take a few years. You start off as a temporary, and then you work up to permanent.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. If others have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll try to answer them either at the end of the call or via email or something afterwards.
Sure. Or I can answer them in the chat as well.
Yeah, and you guys can obviously write back in the chat too. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate the presentation. And I think what's really interesting, again, as we go through the presentations today, you'll see that Neek Loom is very different from, say, some of the clubs that are focused more on being a bug out location. This one is an option for people who want to even be there full time. So next we are going to hear from Weston, who is currently living in Clearwater, I believe, but moving soon, and is looking at starting a survival club. So this is one of our coming soon clubs. And excited to have him on the call today. So let me go back to my sharing because I have his slides.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Weston. Yeah.
Yes.
Yay. So by soon, I mean 3 years. So a bit about me. I grew up on an intentional community, also known as a commune, which are the original survival clubs on this planet, which originated in the 60s. Many communes went along for some time until the late 60s, and most of them in America collapsed. And my grandfather's brother created one in 63, and it's continuing to this day, and it's going very great. So I lived there in New Zealand, rurally, and the core of why they didn't collapse was basically you have to have a moral code, and if you have the rules are no drugs, no sex outside of a relationship, everybody works, no alcohol, no cigarettes. And they sort of, these communities all over the world, they figured out this problem. And many of you know that these intentional communities are all over the world, and there's many, like Jamie was saying, there's many in the United States. So I lived there, I left there, and then I recently, in the last 15 years, I've just been a farmer and a gardener. I lived in Australia, I worked on various farms in Australia, growing food and raising, animals. I came back to America, I lived in California, and I started just really getting into survival gardening. So you can see a picture of me there. That's my garden. It provides about 80% of my food, and right now it's at about 40%, 30% because I've just got back from overseas. But everything's planted, and within about a month or a month and a half, there'll be more than my family can eat, way more. So it's not hard to do. So I started a little company helping train people on, permaculture backyard gardening, which is just raw survival. So everyone's following so far?
Yeah, we're with you.
So I
Yep.
wanted to read a little bit here about the laws of survival and abundance, because what I discovered over the last 2 years, I traveled around the US and I stayed and studied in many of these intentional communities or communes around the US, trying to find the common denominator of survival. How do they work? What advances have they got? How do they use the internet? I want to give the up-to-date data, because the one I was in back in the day, that was the late 90s, and there's been a lot of advancements. And these guys have survival completely down. There are many of them. Some people have over 300 members. They don't fight. They don't argue. They all survive very well. They're incredibly wealthy, and everybody in them survives great. How do they do it, right? So I got all the data, and combining that with the data that I knew growing up in the commune, I'm putting together my own in New Zealand. So within 3 years, I'll start setting that up. I have 300 acres in New Zealand with buildings and sheds and all the farming stuff that needs to be done. The rest is just an org board and members. So the thing is, with the core of how what I studied in these communes is that they have abundance, right? So we know on the laws of survival and abundance in self-analysis, it says a farmer who calculates to need 12 bushels of grain for his food for a year and plants 12 bushels has cut back his chance of survival very markedly. The fact is he will not survive unless the neighbor has been more prudent. So it's abundance, right? Nature is incredibly abundant, and the first part I try to train people on is food, and because without food and water, your community will implode. So when I was staying at these various places around the US, I saw that they had food in abundance, and they harvested food, they stored food, they canned food, they traded food, they dried food, and that was sort of the backbone of any group, was food, water, shelter, and basic abundance. And then they had a way to exchange with the outside environment, because in these communities you can't be an island. It's impossible to be completely shut off. Like the guys from Neek Loom were saying, they had markets. You have to exchange. You have to be in exchange with your environment. So these guys have a product. One was making special rope sandals and hammocks. Others were nut butters. Sometimes it's market gardens. Sometimes it's honey, jams, products. You've got to have products, and you exchange those products with your environment, and you gain a tremendous amount of wherewithal for your survival. So, you can see, I think I've figured out an easy way to start a community, and my community will be, of course, live in permanently. It's east of Auckland, as you can see on that map. Now, have I got some more slides there? Because I'll show you. There you go. So this is where I grew up. This is the commune, and it says, they've got a huge garden. Anybody in the world can go to many of these communes. Like right now, if you want to go to any of these, I can get you in. You just show up, say you know me, and they'll put you to work, and you can live there for the rest of your life if you're keen. So it says the whole garden is always full of veggies and herbs planted by you. You can go in and take any plant anytime for your cooking. If you're on the gardening team, you'll learn planting, weeding, and keeping the damn chickens out. They've got spring water collected from the naturally filtered spring. Okay, so want to know how an entire 64-hectare farm can be sustained from one spring? Join the building team. Now that's the one in New Zealand. Now the other one, which was the best run one in America that I saw, was in Montana, and this was a permaculture boot camp. How long have I got? 5 minutes. So I went up to Montana, and I stayed in Montana with these guys on the permaculture boot camp, and it was 40-hour weeks, and you're in a bunk with a bunch of other people, and they put you to work, and you eat plenty of organic food, and you just learn. And one of the great exports of these places are training. Like Ron was saying, they become training centers to educate people. And then This down here, it's accommodations. Our rustic accommodations range from hand-built buildings to caravans to a simple tent. And they give you a place to live. You know, you work, you get fed, you get trained. They give you $100 a week. You're not spending anything, and you're just learning. So that is an alternate method of survival. There are not many methods of survival that are offered the average individual, and if you are under 30 or under 25, your chances of economic survival in the United States can be a little rough. And especially over the last few years, if you're under 30 and you've been trying to make ends meet, it's probably real to you. So many people move to these, a lot of people move to these intentional communities around the world. And when I got there, they were full to capacity with people who just wanted to survive. People who'd been living in cities, they rent for $3,000 a month. They were trying to survive. So this is an alternate method of survival where everybody doesn't need a car, everybody doesn't need a TV, everybody doesn't need a computer, everybody doesn't need, even one of them had shared clothing. One room was just filled with clothes. And you could just go in and wear whatever you wanted. And it does take a certain amount of sanity, which they all had systems to deal with. Like, how do you get the bad people out? I asked one guy and he said, we just make them work for a month, 40-hour weeks when they arrive. And if a person can stand that, then they're not a bad person. We've found that bad people can't do a month of 40-hour weeks. They'll always be mucking around doing something else, or they're trying to get in charge of somebody, or they'll mess with people, and they'll just leave within the first week. So that's how they just figured out how to keep out troublemakers.
Amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's my 10 minutes. This is another method of survival where a person could live a great life with a lot of abundance and a lot of shared resources. It doesn't particularly work if you already have a lot of stuff. It is very, very, it's very liked by young people who have nothing. And they're like, man, I'm going to slave away and make my car payments and my car payments and my rent, and I'm never going to be able to afford a house. If you have something set up, you can get these people in. And that's what I saw in all these places. They were set up, get people in, they share resources, and they have a great life. And that's what I will be offering in 3 to 4 years. And so watch this space. This is what I'm setting up.
Wow, that's so amazing, Wes. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Again, a totally, a different concept. And I think, like you said, different kinds of concepts are going to attract different people. And I think the younger generations especially are looking for survival in a holistic sense for their entire life, not just for a potential future attack or something specific in the future, but rather a new way of living altogether and surviving today. So thank you. We're gonna next hear from Peter with the British Columbia, Canada Survival Club. And this one is gonna be totally different. So it's perfect because we're kind of switching gears. So Peter, take it away.
I am now unmuted.
Very good.
I
Nice
don't
to
have
see you.
yeah, nice to see you guys too. I don't have a fancy presentation.
It's okay.
I made some notes. We are a very completely different kind of a survival club. And I'll just give you a little bit of an idea. First of all, my background, I first learned about the club in the studying the lectures of L. Ron Hubbard. I've been studying his material. I don't know. I imagine most of the people are familiar with this. I was warned that there might be people who don't know about it. But that has been for most of my life, that is the work that I have done, is working to apply his material and help make a better world. And so we are located in Vancouver, Canada, not our club. Our club is still in the imaginary state, but we're in Vancouver, Canada, and most of the people that are members of the club are people that I've known for a number of years, working with them using L. Ron Hubbard's technology. And they're very busy people. A lot of them have 2 jobs. And so what happened with us is we, of course, in the early stages of the pandemic, realized that things were kind of going to hell worldwide, and there were a lot of problems. And if you listen to what L. Ron Hubbard says in the initial lecture where he talks about the Survival Club, he says, you know, you have an enemy which could be global disaster, but a bigger enemy is actually the demoralizing aspect of these breakdowns in society. You know, when the pandemic hit, I think a lot of people were much more affected by emotionally and mentally than they were physically from the disease itself. So one of the reasons that we started this, and I started it, was I could see my friends getting very upset about world conditions, and they wanted to they were worried, and I said, well, let's do this. Then this gives you an option. So if it all goes to hell, we're going to have this option. So we stuck very close to the initial talk that Hubbard gave on the subject, and he talked about you would purchase a property somewhere outside of the city that would be, in fact, a bug out location where people would go. Now, where we are here, it's like probably Los Angeles or a lot of other places, extremely expensive real estate. So what we did is we thought, well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set a membership, and we wanted it to be a membership that wasn't usurious to people or usurious to people. It was a small amount of money. And so we set a membership of $150 a month. So we've just been banking this money while we try to figure out how we're going to buy a property. And it really will be a bug out location. There's sort of an idea that it will be a recreational property as well, but a lot of the guys that are involved are busy 7 days a week. I don't know how much recreating they're going to be able to do at this property. One of the things that we've been looking at more recently, or I have, because I'm sort of the driving force of it, is farms. There are some advantages if you can buy an existing farm, in that it's already arable land. It usually has a water source. Hopefully, potentially, it has some running water or a lake or something like that. And the government in Canada is actually a little bit more interested in perpetuating farms, because farmers don't make a lot of money and they want to sell off their farms. So sometimes you can buy a farm for, and when I say not a lot of money, here, not a lot of money is $2 million. In Clearwater, it might be, out in the wilds of the swamps of Florida, it might be, you know, a tenth of that. But here, it's a lot of money. But there's government programs. And then the idea would be, is if these people that are members, we have about 34 members. I think we had a slide. I don't know how many. I don't think we have all the people in the slide that we sent you, just to give you an idea, something to look at while I'm talking. But basically, they're busy people, and if we had a farm, we would lease the farmland to a farmer who could then work the land. Potentially, it would at least cover the costs of the property, and even make a small profit that we could invest back into it. It seems, from what we've looked at, recreational property, if you want to buy like a campground or something, they want a 50% down payment to finance it. So that's kind of where we're at. And we do have a lot of resources. The people that are members, I didn't really go out soliciting the broad public for membership. I actually handpicked people that I said, could I survive the end of the world with this person, or would they drive me nuts? And so that's how I picked the people. That's how I picked our members, people that are all known to me. very like-minded, not just in terms of world conditions or the survival club, but also people I can get along with. And we have a lot of people with a variety of skills. We have mechanics. We have a helicopter pilot, which I was excited about until I found out how much a helicopter costs. We have guys that can build. We have guys with farming experience. We have welders, mechanics, school teachers, counselors. We have all kinds of people that literally we could, if required, form this mini society. And that's kind of us. I think that sort of covers it. I know I might be able to sell off some of my remaining minutes to one of the other clubs. They're all organized with fancy movies and things. But that's basically it. We're looking at something that would be, considering the fact that we're in a city, and we're not leaving unless we would have to. So we're considering how far away could it be? How far would you have to drive to get there? So we made a circle around the city of Vancouver, which is about 4 to 4.5 hours. And it's still kind of expensive even out there, but that's our plan. I have adult children. My kids have children. So we have 3 generations here in our family in this club. And I don't know how many kids there are in total, but there's a lot of kids. I'm probably one of the oldest ones in my 60s. Most of the other ones are in their 30s or 40s, or they're 1 or 2 years old. That's kind of the demographic of it. And that's what we're doing. So that's it in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer any questions.
That was really great. Very
Yes.
interesting. You gave us some really good ideas. I love it. Love how you think.
So before
Great,
we
thanks,
go,
Marcy.
yeah, thanks, Peter. So before we go to the next club, I just wanted to come back to this slide one more time I know there's some people that have joined late, so I wanted to make sure everyone got a chance to see this. So we've heard from Nick Loom, we've heard from Peter in Canada, and we heard from Weston in New Zealand in our coming soon category. As you can see, there's a number of cities in the coming soon category, and we're really excited about that. So if you are in one of those cities, we'll be setting up some meetings for those local groups to start to get together and form their group and figure out what's needed and wanted from that specific community. In some of these locations, we already have property. In others, we're in the early stages. So there's a lot happening there. And the next club we're going to hear from is from our very own Marcy and David. As they mentioned, they are the leaders of the Fairwinds Forest in Florida. And you'll notice on our coming soon category, we also have Clearwater number 2. They have done such an amazing job at the Fairwinds Forest and made everybody jealous with the adorable baby goats that that we have to start a new club because there's more people that want to participate and do something. And so that's going to be more information coming soon. But for now, I will turn it over to them to talk about the Fairwinds Forest.
Very good. So I just need to share my screen. All right. So this is our logo in the middle. All of it actually is our logo. Fairwinds Forest, the badge in the middle is our little shoulder badge or medallion that we use to represent the club. And on the left-hand side, you'll see Community Preparedness Group International Incorporated. We took that name and that logo about 10 years ago with the intention of having groups around every ideal org in the world. And so we named ourselves the International Group. And here we are 10 years later, and it's coming to fruition big time. And many of you started your groups and we didn't even know about it. And we're very happy to all be thinking the same. Our purposes for starting are very similar to yours. We found this property during the pandemic, which was when we really for real got into action. And so it's amazing that all these different parts of the world, we were all thinking and doing the similar things. And it's just great to connect up with you guys. And I have had other people in groups tell me, oh, I'm so glad to find you because people told me I was crazy for what I was doing. And now I found out that, oh, actually, there's a lot of people who are crazy who are doing what we're doing. So welcome to all of you. And I hope you feel like you're part of a new group and a new team that's being formed. So welcome to the forest. This is a little entry shot from one of the entrances to our forest. David gave you a little bit of intro in the beginning about how we got started with friends and friends talking to other friends and like-minded people came together. And this is an aerial view of a small section of the property, which is the property of our club, but it is this is the way it looked when we purchased it. We've made a lot of changes in it up till to the date. The property has 85 acres and it's all pretty much forest the way you see around here. There's a meadow and there's some places that we've cleared, but it's basically zoned as a tree farm, and the whole thing looks like similar to this. So when we started CPG originally, just like you guys in Canada, we just put some friends together and we started training and learning about how to do all these different things. The vast majority of us are city folk and didn't know anything about animals and plants or survival skills. And so we just started learning and then teaching each other and having hands-on practices and practical days and things like that. Everything from how to work a ham radio to how to build an outdoor toilet, and had a lot of fun doing it. And after a couple of properties that didn't quite work out because we didn't set them up exactly well, so therefore we can tell you what not to do. What happened was one of our members had been with us for quite a while, just called and said that they knew that we needed a property in order to fully have a real survival club, and that they were willing to purchase the property for the purpose of establishing a survival club that would be there forever. And so we rent this property from them for a minimal fee, and we are building the survival club. And of course, it's a bug out place for them. And so it's a beautiful relationship that we've developed over these last 3 years. And they totally back up what we're doing and really, really love it. And we love what we're doing. So we call this our international headquarters. It's going to be what we call the Ideal Ability Club headquarters. And this barn, which was only 3 years old when we bought it, or 2, I think it's 5 years old now, is like our central quarters for meeting, and has the ham tower and the communications and stuff in it. This is what it looks like when we bought it. These are the before shots. And this is actually not even a recent one, but this is the concept of one of the birthing options that we put together. You'll see the bunk beds with the little wardrobes and things. There are now 10 of those, so there's enough for 20 people in that area. And this year we're going to be closing that area in, putting in walls and a ceiling, fan and air conditioning. So it's going to be an actual room instead of a camp out a type place in a barn, which has worked out just fine. We've just been improving as we go along. So each member puts 6 months worth of personal supplies together, and they store them in these boxes. And that's so that it's there no matter when they have to show up or want to show up, their supplies are already there. Because one of the tough things to do is if an emergency happens with little to no notice, you can't be running around grabbing your things and putting it in the car. But you want to have everything there, including bedding, everything like that, clothes, insect repellent, sunscreen, any personal care items. People can store, special foods or vitamins if they can. And this speaks to what was just mentioned about choosing people of lots of different backgrounds and talents. And that is, we did the same thing. We look for people with specific talents that would fill all the spaces on our org board. And for example, it's really important to have a medical person. And so we actually are like maybe one day away from finally having our doctor sign up as a member. But in the meantime, we knew he was coming, so we built a medical center. This was taken, maybe a month or so ago. It's now finished and ready for him to move in. He toured it yesterday, and the last thing he said when he walked in there before he left was, "Oh, and so this is going to be my office, huh?" So we're really excited about that. But it's just an example. You know, you need engineers, you need farmers, you need first aid people. You know, when you put your group together, you want to have a variety of skills from the people that you're going to be working with. So this is an old garage. We worked with what we had. We took that garage and we finished it out a little bit, you know, cleaned it up, put in some sinks and refrigerator, and it's going to be a food processing area. It's also now the place where we're handling all the food and necessities for the animals that we have. We went through 3 phases of hygiene centers. And when we originally started, you'll see a solar water bag right here. You hang it out in the sun and it makes the water warm, and you bring it in and you can wash your hands with it. And we had a couple back here in the showers. And this little thing in the front is a urine diverting toilet that we are still using. We upgraded that to hot and cold running water. So you'll see the pipes and the water. We had a water heater and pipes ran over to the heater. And there are 3 showers in there. We still have the urine diverting toilets, but we have hot and cold running water. But what I don't have a picture of is the new hygiene center that we just finished or almost finished building in the barn that has 3 flushing toilets. We flushed for the first time about a month ago, and 2 showers and a
Thank you,
bathtub.
Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Liz. Yes, these people work their you know what's off to make that happen, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. But the point is that we will be able to teach people, you know, how to build a survival club in based on what's available. You know, just taking what you have and building it. And Peter's idea of, you know, of getting a farm that's already has the, you know, the basic equipment and buildings that you need is that's really the answer. The more that you have in your property ready to go, the better. So, as you know, one of the main purposes is of the survival clubs is to increase people's abilities and capabilities. And the more that you do that, and the more people that have that, the more everyone's survival will be enhanced. So members learn a lot of new things and increase their abilities, sometimes in areas that they never thought they would, like how to build a tent platform, you know, how to use tools, saws, things like that. This is the base of a tent platform. This is the base put down after the plot was leveled, and these flat boards, you know, make the bottom of it. And then people can come set up their tents. They can spend any time they want there, weekend or whatever. If they're members, they can come up and just have a weekend there. It's about an hour and 15 minutes away from Clearwater. And this is one of the membership options, just to have a tent spot for yourself. How to put up a ham radio tower. We managed to do it. We figured it out with the equipment that we had, and the tower can reach Clearwater. And I guess if somebody wanted to learn how to do this, they could, because somebody had to go up there and put that tower up there. So being caused over food and any food shortage threat is a very important area that we do take very seriously. This is an early greenhouse. But right now we're in the process of building 6 more. And on the right-hand side, you'll see an early start of how we got our beds built. If you live in an area where you can grow stuff in the ground, that's really good. And I wish we had that, but we have sand here. We had to actually make our own dirt. And so we had to use compost and trees and manure and whatever we could find to make what we needed. But things started to grow, and we do have quite a bit growing now. We also built what are called hugel berms from hugel culture, and we had to till it and, you know, make the dirt so that this could grow. And we do have lots of vegetables, squash, beans, tomatoes, yams, things growing in the area. And we had to, of course, put up a fence because deer love fence. And being in a forest, we have deer everywhere. And we didn't really have the funds for a really fancy fence. So we took just saplings of trees, and we cut them down, and we built our fences out of trees that we cut down. It was a temporary solution, but it worked just fine. And here's the top with a very fine deer netting, and the bottom with a chicken wire to keep out the animals. We have 2 coops now, but this was the first one. And we built a much larger one next to that when we could. We have about 30 or so, maybe 40 chickens now. And we have a basic idea, which is our garden is built like this with beds and berms. And there are these spaces around the outside where the chickens can run, although they've gotten to free range now and they stay around and they've proved themselves to be able to be safe. So they don't really spend too much time in the enclosed berms. With our orchard, with our fruit trees, we have about 50 fruit trees and berry bushes. That's up on the north part of, or south part of that. So food. So the way we have things set up is people pay initial membership fee, and the money, part of the money from that fee goes to buy 6 months worth of prepared food, freeze dried or otherwise prepared food for 6 months, and we have it stored in a secret place. It's all cool and dry and protected, and we don't cut into it. This is not a picture of us eating it. That's all secured for the future. But we do love to eat together. And so when we go up and we spend time there, we always have lunch together and make it a community affair. This is one of the membership levels, which is in the ground floor of a house that's there, and it's air conditioned. And there are bunk beds with dividers. And outside that is a hygiene center. This is the process of putting it in place. And this is what it looks like now. It will be closed in, but right now it has some really great showers, toilets, sinks, and it'll have a hangout area pretty soon. So what about energy? We weren't sure what we were going to do about that when we first got the property. There was city energy, of course, county energy, but we didn't know what we would do if it went out. And the benefactors who own the property originated that we really should have solar. And so here it is, 60 panels on the front of the house, 60 panels on the back. And there's another 40 panels on the barn. And that was just a heavenly gift that helped us really, really be prepared. Hot water heaters, you know, whatever we need, we'll be able to handle. So we have our LRH and survival book library in the house. And this is a trail that goes from the barn to the pond. But just in case I miss saying anything, the water is brought to us through several wells that we have, and it's all clean and tested. We have 2 entrances, which is something we really wanted in case we had to leave. We have a back entrance. We have 85 acres altogether. And I mentioned that there's deer. There's also boar, lots of boar. We've actually had a little experiment with trapping them. And it's definitely a food source at some point. And oh, I put deer there again. I meant, anyway, there's also wild turkey. And we have goats now. Yeah, somebody mentioned goats, and I didn't have any slides of the goats, but I think I can bring something up on my phone here. Oh, well, the camera doesn't work. But David, you might have some pictures of goats you can throw on your camera when I get done, because you've got to see the kids. We've got four kids, and they're just the cutest things. And there's nothing like a feeling of the future, seeing an animal born like that. It's really cool. So we have a pond, which has probably, I'm sure, over 200, probably 300 tilapia now. And we have heavy equipment that came with the house, with the property as part of the original deal when it was purchased. We have 3 levels of membership. So that's how we set it up, so that a person could have a tent, they could have a bunk in the barn, or they could have a bunk in an area that was air conditioned. And their initial one-time fee would vary based on the type of membership. And then there is a monthly fee that everybody pays that's based on how many the number of people in the family. And of course, we have an org board and an admin scale, which I can show you a bit of here in a minute. So here's a view of the pond. And it is definitely a potential for fishing activity, and I hope maybe someday for kayaking, and we might expand it. But right now it's a food source, and that's where the tilapia have now taken up. This is a stream. There is a stream that doesn't go dry on the property, so that's an additional source of water. Oh, there's a couple of neighborhood turkeys there on the main trail. We've also spotted eagles, and there's a few deer there for you to see. This is the equipment that came with the property, which was just heaven sent. We've used it so much for the different projects, building the goat paddock and flattening the property for the new greenhouses that we're putting in. And by the way, 2 of the greenhouses are going to be spirulina cultures, which we have found is enough nutrition for somebody to survive on, even if they had no food. So we feel very confident that we can help people to get their basic nutrition. No matter what happens, we'll be growing that ourselves. And here's a picture from a few Christmases ago. We encourage everybody to be on course and improving themselves and getting their own enhancement. They're all showing you their course that they're on. So that is the Fairwinds Forest Ability Club. And it's how we put it together. I can actually stop sharing and then share quickly the org board, which is here. And it's actually a very big Excel spreadsheet, but I can just show you the top here where we have the founders and the 3 execs for admin exec, and then the PES and the OES. But these are the divisions, of course, 7. And I'm showing you this because if you haven't put together an org board for your organization, and in any case, if you'd like to, we can actually send you this. You can adjust it for your own group, and you may have some things you can add, or things that you don't need. But this covers many things that we ran into that we needed as we grew. And just to show you one thing, which is that we have different division 4s. We have 4A, which is shelter, energy, and security. 4B is fire, food, and water. And C is medical, public health, and fitness. And 4D is estates. We can talk to you about why we put that there, but it worked out to be the best. And of course, quality control. And then here are the 2 Div 6s for Ability Club and for public outreach and bringing in new clubs. So you can see it's pretty extensive. The boxes are where we still need somebody. We're going to be filling in that doctor box pretty soon. But just giving an example of what we've put together. And of course, we have a full admin scale that we can definitely show you as well. So sorry, my camera isn't working, but I hope that you got something out of that. We really are so happy to have so many of you here and to hear about the groups, the new groups. And we'll be announcing our new Clearwater group here very shortly. That's what I have for you. Over to you, David.
Let me see if I can get some
See
goats,
some goats up
here
there.
so you can see.
Yeah, there they are. There's 2 of them in a little basket.
Yeah,
3?
3 of them. Yeah,
3 of them. There's 3 of them.
they're very young. Some of them a week old, and it's very cute. We had a lot of kids up there yesterday, and human kids, and they just love the goat kids, and just we had to drag them out of the goat shed after dark. So thank you, Marcy. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Wes, and also thanks to the Niklum team. We're very, very happy to get a chance to learn about your clubs and what it is that you're doing and what your goals and plans are. One of the things that we had in mind, as Marcy mentioned, when we started this whole game, is that we wanted to be able to help other people with whatever we find out and share with them. And so anything that we have developed and so forth, we are very interested in sharing. So if you have something that you want to know about, please go ahead and put that into chat so that we can do our best to respond to you and provide that information to you. Part of my background, as I mentioned, was as a management consultant and a WISE consultant for many years. So I have done a lot of work putting together organizations and helping them function well and that type of thing. And so that's one of the things that has, I think, helped us get going and keep moving and so forth. And just to speak a little bit to Peter, we have tried 3 different ways of acquiring properties. The first way that we attempted was to have everybody that wanted to be a member put up $25,000 and try to get enough people to do that to be able to buy some property. And we kind of did that kind of half worked, and then one of our members rounded up some of her permaculture customers to help put up some of the rest of the thing, and that then looked like it was going to work real well, but it hasn't been as beneficial because they're not so much interested in helping humans survive as it is to grow food permaculture style. So that was an interesting angle. And, you know, to be fair, it still exists and it still could work and so forth. And in a real disaster and so forth, we could still come in there. But asking somebody to come up with 25,000 or even 12.5 is you definitely reduce the number of people that you could get to come aboard. Next one we did was we had a friend of mine that had 10 acres up about 2.5 hours north of our area here in Clearwater. And so his wife was kind of out of the picture for a while. So said, hey, why don't you guys just come up and you can do stuff on my land? And that sounds fine. So we went up, did a bunch of work up there and started getting things going. And we found that 2.5 hours was a long way to drive to try to get people to go up and do work on the property and so forth. So we get people to go up there occasionally, we can get this and that, but it was a pretty small group. And then when his wife came back from vacation, she says, oh, I don't like all this stuff that's on this property. Besides, we need a bigger property. Let's sell this anyway. And so that was a little bit of a ice water dip for us. But the thing that eventually occurred was that one of our members was in a position where they could buy a property. And so we found the property and it was over budget. And so then a total of 2 other couples, Marcy, myself, and another couple, put up enough money to be able to acquire the property. And then at the last minute, we said, how about all this equipment that the former owners found that they needed to maintain the property? Shouldn't we buy this too? And so our patron benefactors finally said, yeah, let's do that. That makes good sense. So anyway, we ended up with this really spectacular situation. And it's a little bit over an hour away from town. So it's a stretch, but it's not too much. And so we found that we get a fairly large number of people being active. We believe that in a disaster situation, what some writers refer to as the golden hordes will be coming out of the cities trying to find anything, something, whatever. And so we intentionally tried to find a property that would be off the beaten path enough that the golden hordes are not going to just, like we don't have a big house sitting right next to a major road or something like that. I found one property as I was looking around, says, wow, that looks really good, until I expanded the picture out, and it was 6 blocks away from a Walmart super store. So Oh, no, I don't think so. Uh, so we had lots of adventures and happy to share what we have learned. And we certainly don't know everything about it, but we do know that, yeah, it's a project, and it really helps a lot when you have people that are well aligned with you and your vision and what you're trying to achieve. And we charge enough for our membership to be able to supply 6 months worth of food. And the reason for that, we started off with 3 months, but then when we started trying to grow food on the property, we realized that, hey, we can't scale up to grow enough food for 70 people in 3 months.
Right.
They'll still be fumbling around trying to figure out how to make this thing work. At least when you start trying to go from this market garden to agriculture of that scale. So we simply required 6 months worth of survival food, and we found good ways to purchase that. Marcy has done a lot of that work. There's some other people on the call that have been very active in that. And we're happy to share with you where we have looked for the food. We tried to stay away from the El Cheapo, all carbs type diets and so forth, because in a stressful situation, you want to have a good diet that's not gonna be the kind of thing that would make you sick if you went onto it in a good time, much less under a lot of stress.
Right.
So that was one of the breakthroughs that made it possible. And then we charged enough to be able to put tent sites in place for people so that don't have city folks going out there and trying to sleep on the rocks or on the tent root or on the tree roots or something like that, or have some bugs kind of crawling up into their sleeping bag to get warm. So a lot of fun stuff that we have done, and we've gotten a lot of support. And as we've moved forward, we reached the point where, yeah, we need to open up an additional or several additional survival clubs around our area. So that's one of the projects that we're hot and heavy on right now. And that's just kind of a little speaking to a lot of the things that are happening that I've noticed. I think that there are a lot of ideas that we've come up with or that we've seen that would make a lot of sense, and so we're just very much into trying to implement as many of those as we can and be open to them as much as we can. Now, a couple of other things. One of the things is that we got a reach from the Free Winds, which is very strong interest in putting together a survival club convention. And so Marcy and I have spent several weeks on the ship, the Free Winds last year, and have scheduled it for April 18th. And I think Marcy's going to say a little bit about it. We may have somebody else speak about it a little bit as well. So that is coming up, and we would highly encourage everybody to come to that. We are planning to have some very high-level conversations about how to do all these things, as well as a lot of roundtables where we get down and dirty and what problems are you running into, and here's what we've done. What have you guys done? What have you guys done? What do you guys?
So on that subject, Lisette is here on the line, and I do have the email promo that I could show if you want to share my screen. We can talk a little bit about this.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, Lisette, you there?
Yeah, I am.
Great. So this is Lisette. She's from West US. And she has been helping us to send out this email promo about the convention, and as helping me, and I'm helping her to have more and more people attend. We have about 12 committed and another 8 or so that are saying they would like to go. And I'd like for you all to consider going. As you get a survival club started, or those of you who haven't started, who have certain areas that you need help with, if you want to boost in training, not only yourselves, but the people in your organization, the more people you have trained, and the better they're trained, the faster your group will grow, and the better chance you have of it succeeding and everybody surviving. So you're all invited to come, or maybe groups can get together and send 1 or 2 or 3 or however many people from each of your groups to come to get trained. And here is the email promo. I'm just going to put it on the screen, but I'd like for Lisette to just say hi, and then I'll go through a little bit of what's on the promo here, and then she'll give you some more information. Hey, Lisette.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi. Most
Hi.
everybody is muted, but you guys can unmute if you want to comment for sure. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Lizette. I work in the Free Winds office in the West US. I'm actually quite excited to be helping Marcy and Dave on this particular convention because I had no knowledge about this prior to this. And I've been thoroughly enlightened, and it's super cool. And we have been sending the email out, and it's actually, I'm like astonished at how many people are reaching from all over the world to like find out more about this, or that already had this, or already had locations that they have been, reasons why they bought their farm, et cetera, and then they want to come to the convention. So it's kind of cool. And I'm having like people walk into my office and just sign up, which is pretty incredible. It's really fun, and I'm excited to make this super, super successful, and also to make sure that everybody gets all the knowledge they need so that they can make their own survival club successful.
Very good. Very good. Well, some of you may have gotten this promo, and it's going to be going out even more broadly, but here's the look of it. And David, you can get your video ready so we can show it right after this. I just remembered, yeah. So another couple of quotes here are, no matter the purpose for, I think we went over this one, no matter the purpose for which the club is organized, the actual goal of the club is to raise the capability of every person who becomes a member of that club. And all we have to do is carry forward a steadfast program of organizing groups of people through the length and breadth of the country with the goal of raising the individual capability of every member of the group. We will then have a country. That's from Survival Club's December 1957. So here's a picture of 3 of us. Many of the Free Winds staff will also be speaking, but the other panelists are David and I, and this is Colonel Prado. Lisette, you want to tell them a little bit about Colonel Prado?
Yeah, so Colonel Prado is a Freedom Medal Award winner, and he's also, he is a large reason of, why the crime rate in Colombia has dropped 70%, and it's come off the most dangerous countries list, and they're very much flourishing and prospering as a country. And we call it the Colombian miracle, and he was a part of that with our LRH PPRO on the ship to really just spread the way to happiness in times of need in that particular country. So he, it's very special that we're having him come and be a part of this to, brief and give like whatever tools and LRH tech that he's used to be able to help everybody with their clubs.
Very, very true. And if you believe in coincidences, or even if you don't, David and I arrived on the ship in May, whatever it was, May of this year, and he was there. And the Free Wind staff started learning that we were there to start planning the survival club. And we find out that Colonel Prado has a survival club in Colombia. Who knew? He's building one in like high level in a mountain where there was no water. And he learned a technology to be able to pull water out of a mountain, and he built his own lake. I mean, he's
Wow,
just
that's
done some
amazing.
off the top things. And he is, you know, now starting to put his team together because he has a whole nother kind of setup up there, how he was able to do that. But he's going to come and he's going to talk about what he's done. He's also going to talk about the Way to Happiness book. It's a guidebook that we will be using for making sure that our members are all upstanding, moral people. And that guide is going to help us. So he's going to be talking about that. So here's some of the benefits that you'll get from that seminar, and that is to gain the Scientology knowledge and certainty on preparedness that you personally need. Learn how to enhance your survival with a happy, cooperative, well-prepared group, and learn how to raise your own capabilities along with your families and friends, thus improving the survival for all. And so, Lisette, you want to give them an idea about the length and the cost and what they can expect there?
Yes. So basically, everyone will arrive on the 18th of April, 17th or 18th of April. And then that is a Wednesday or Thursday. The convention will start on Friday, immediately upon arrival to the Freewinds. And then the departure day is on the 26th. So it's about a week. And the cost of the convention is $750. Yes, that's it. It's very cheap. And
Yeah.
and then everyone, as a part of that, you'll do a course, which is $100. So 850. And then the commos just depends on the person if they decide to stay in a shared cabin or you know, have their own cabin or whatever. That it all varies. But the cheapest accommodations, including the convention, your course, and all of your meals, is $1,450. And that's for the entire week. And then we have really awesome flights, depending on where you fly from. I'm like the flights queen, and I can find you really, really good deals. Yeah, so that's basically it in terms of the cost. And also, so you know, starting mid-January, we'll be traveling to the West Indies. So this convention will be occurring while we are in Barbados, St. Lucia, and Dominica,
Oh man,
which
that's awesome.
are stunning islands. If you haven't been to them before, they're just like, you know, straight out of a movie. You're like, whoa. Tropical islands are very beautiful, and there's very inexpensive tickets going to those specific islands. Those are like the more fancier islands of the Caribbean, and they have really, really good deals from anywhere. So if you have more questions in terms of, well, first I wanted to say, if you're interested in the convention, you should definitely let us know in the chat, so Marcy and I know who you are and we can reach out to you. And then if you want to note down my phone number, you can call me directly and I can help you with any questions that you have.
Go ahead,
And
I'm
I'll
going to
give that
put it
to
in
you.
the chat for you.
Great. It's 503.
Okay.
That's the area code, 583-6673. And even if you think like, oh my God, I can't come up with those funds, or the timing doesn't work, or whatever, just get in calm with me, because I literally can make miracles happen. I have made the impossible possible. If you're like, I don't have a passport, can I get one in time? I can help you with that. I could do these things with my eyes closed and just make things happen.
Oh, we're very lucky to have you.
I make dreams come true by sending people to the free.
That's great.
Yeah. And then also, we'll be doing a whole admin scale and planning, so that you have a plan for when you get home, so you can actually put it into execution and make your club super successful.
Thank you so much, Lisette. Okay, guys, you know what to do. You can contact your Freewinds office, or you've got the phone number there in chat. So if you'd like to find out more about it, please give her a call. Okay, I'm going to stop share, and then David has a really, thank you very much, Lisette. We're going to show a little video. I know you're not on the screen, so but I know you're a busy gal, and thanks for taking the time, and I'm sure you'll be seeing some of us.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
and here's the video. Okay, or economic collapse.
Now we can see it. Now it's good.
Disaster. or
That's good.
worse, a war, or some major social unrest, even another pandemic. You need knowledge, confidence, and preparation. Are you prepared for your survival? You'll have to have food, water, shelter, energy, and a means of communication. These problems multiply if you have family and friends who need your help. If things get really bad, do you have a place to go? Now, my purpose is not to fearmonger. It's to help you get prepared, because if you know what to do, the chances of something bad happening are far less likely. I want to introduce you to the Survival Club. We educate and assist people who want to be prepared for situations which could occur. You can learn things like how to grow your own food, how to purify water, how to create energy, how to protect yourself and your family, how to communicate if you need assistance. In short, how to survive. So now you can be prepared. Contact us today to find out more about the Survival Club.
Very good. You guys like that?
Yeah.
Little 90-second commercial. You can use it to send it out to people to get them interested. And anyway, it's something we're using to promote the convention as well.
Good, and this was done by David Tinoco. Let's give him a
Yes,
hand.
David.
And just on omission, I don't think we actually gave a hand to all the people that have presented. So let's go ahead and recognize Jamie and Peter and Stuart and all the people that have presented to us today. Wes, so many much appreciated. Right now, we are in a unique position. We have gained a lot of experience, a lot of expertise. We have a convention coming up where we will be able to share that expertise with people around the world. We have a lot of the pieces in place to make an ideal survival club and to be able to take that knowledge and pass it on. We've already made a lot of mistakes, and there's no sense in you having to make all those mistakes yourself. As most of you know, we are in a position where we are going to be helping to create more sanity on the planet at an exponentially expanded rate. So it's a very, very exciting time to be alive, and it makes a lot of difference what we do during this period, because we need to be able to be here regardless if there's any bumps in the road, and we need to be able to function with our attention on making ourselves and our families and our groups as safe as possible from whatever might be thrown our direction, just to be able to be at very, very high confront on just about anything. That's, I think, our best way to be able to handle it, is to be able to confront anything and either make it go away or overcome it. So that is our intention for the year. Now I think we've got an open house and the next Zoom call and so forth. So over to Marcy to announce all that.
Hey guys, just a few announcements for you for everybody on the call and all future members. The CPG International is a training organization with or without an actual property or an organized club. It's a group where you can tie into our trainings the first Sunday of every month at this time, 7 o'clock Eastern time. And we cover all kinds of areas of prepping, and we welcome input, like what you want to learn about. We cover everything from food to security to different aspects, and an update on what's happening worldwide, socially and otherwise. So you're all welcome to sit in any first Sunday of the month. And if you make sure we have your email, you'll receive the invitation, the Zoom link directly, or you can get it through the leader of your survival club. And if you find that the information is helpful and it's beneficial. It's helping you build your group. The membership is voluntary, and that is $100 a year. And that's separate from the survival clubs. This is just the educational arm. And for those of you who are members, and of those of you who want to join, the membership drive is going on now. The renewal notices will be going out during January, and all you have to do is click on it and you can pay online. So look for that. And we'd like to get everybody renewed before the end of the month. That would be great. And then Jamie set up a fantastic day for people who are in Clearwater, and that's going to be an event on February 18th. It's going to be at a local farm in Largo, and we're going to have tables and booths and speakers and demonstrations and contests and all kinds of fun things for people who are members or anybody you would like to invite to find out about the survival clubs and what we're doing, particularly here locally. So you'll all be hearing more about that, but it's going to be really, really exciting. And I really invite every local survival club, CPG member, including the Ability Club, to come and participate and help us to introduce it to new people in the area. And then the last thing just is that our next Zoom call is the 4th of February. That's the first Sunday of the month at 7 o'clock. And so that's all I have. Dave, you want to wrap it up?
So thank you very much. Remember, our motto is live prepared. We are in a position where we can do that, probably better than we have ever been able to do that. It's really vital at this moment to get yourself into as good a condition as you possibly can. That obviously is one of the most important ways of being prepared, is having your own personal tone as high as possible and your own personal knowledge base as high as possible. And then you're very likely to get a chance to benefit from that as things move forward into these kinds of interesting times. I just know it's a lot more fun to be riding through tough times when you have a smile on your face and a happy partner by your side. So that's what Marcy and I have. We're very fortunate that way, and we recommend it for everyone. So that's what we got. We'll see you around the campus here in a month.
Thanks. Bye, everybody. Thanks for being on, and nice
Bye.
meeting all the new people.